Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Lineage Chronicles.
I believe I've told you guys quite a bit about the things that we see here in our house and on our land. To some people, they would say your house is completely haunted, your land is completely haunted, just leave. But the thing is, we don't really consider our land to be haunted. We just consider it to be spiritually active. So the difference between haunted and spiritually active. Haunted is when the house, the land, or wherever you live is pretty much just cabinets slamming by themselves. Things maybe trying to push you or hurt you, in some way, but it's not considered haunted when you see spiritual beings who have passed over into the spiritual realm, or when you hear them talking to you, or things like that. Haunted is more so scary, where you're in a state of fear, or something is trying to scare you. Haunted is not when you are witnessing spiritual things. Just to give a small clarification, right? So the property that we live on, it does have various portals, obviously, because the things that happen here, they don't happen everywhere, but like I tell people, if you pay attention long enough, then you'll kind of notice these things happening, right? So this story that I'm going to tell you guys about today, some may consider it spooky, some may not, but this story took place back in 2020. And this during this time, I was technically asleep, but I heard a noise, and that noise pretty much woke me up out of my sleep. So when I woke up, keep in mind that my bed is like close to where my bathroom is. So when I looked in my bathroom, I saw this man walk towards the wall, because that's technically what's right there. So it wasn't like, a place where they could have turned and went down the hallway or anything like that. It was literally a wall where I saw this man walking into. Now, the way my bathroom is set up, my closet is like another room, and my closet is in there. So he was walking away from the area where my closet was into this wall, and this room, like I said, is located in my bathroom, to kind of give you guys a visual, right? So obviously you can't walk through that area because it's a wall. I knew it was a spirit. And I want to say at that point, this was in 2020, so I was past the this is weird stage, like it wasn't, these things were no longer really just weird to me, because they happened a lot. I do have a lot of occurrences at this house, so it's fun. I could to say the least. It's fun and it's very spiritual, right? So when I saw this man, he looked very confused. He didn't know where he was, right? And that's what kind of startled me, because I was like, immediately I knew he had passed on, but didn't know that he had passed on, and he didn't know like the realm that he was in, or why he was even in the room that he was in. And that's the confusing thing when people go pass on, because they're not really sure what that process is like, the people or things that they're going to run into. So a lot of them are really scared, which is why I personally recommend not to try to speak to someone who's just passed, because they could be upset, they could be very confused, and it could be a lot that they're just going through. And even in that life, in the spiritual realm, they do get guides, but it still takes them time to adjust to what's going on, right? So it was like I said, obviously you couldn't, it's a wall right there. You can't walk through it. So in my mind, I was like, Lord, here we go again. I cannot get any sleep in this house. It's just so much spiritual activity. And I used to put posts on social media, and I'd be like, look, can y'all talk to y'all ancestors, because they won't let me sleep. And that's literally how my nights are. Everybody are like, oh, you do so much, you're working all the time, trying to, do this, and you're doing your spiritual work. So it's like, you need to get some sleep. And it's like, how, when the spirits are literally keeping me up, right? So now I'm not sure if you watch my videos on this sort of like spiritual experiences or this type of content, but if you have, then I really do have a lot of spiritual encounters. Now, a lot of them, like I said, are not going to be spooky. And for those of you who are like, oh, get straight to the point, well, it's kind of hard to get to the point when you're doing story time, right? You kind of have to give people a backstory so they know what you're actually talking about. So if you don't like my story times, if you don't like me to go in deep detail, then just don't watch, all right? This particular one threw me off, to say the least, because when I walked into this closet, right, Baron said, I need you to help this man cross over. So immediately I was like, okay, this is, exactly why I told my dad, as a kid, my foster dad who raised me, my spiritual father who raised me, I didn't want to do this. I really didn't want to do this as a child, because as a child, I was more afraid of spirits. So I was like, I don't want to talk to dead people. Like, who wants to talk to dead people? But it kind of brought me back, let's just say, to that moment. All right. So the man begins to tell me that he doesn't know where he is. All of this is just strange to him, and that he can't find his daughter. And I'm like, trying to really process what this man is telling me, because if I were in his shoes, obviously, I would feel that same way too. Like, where's my family? Where am I? You get what I'm saying? Which is why I was saying about spirits being confused. And the thing about these spirits being confused, if you even approach them the wrong way, there's no telling how they will react. You get what I'm saying? So there could be a good reaction or there could be a bad reaction, which is why this is more so left up to trained professionals. And I'm going to speak about that a lot on my channel, because there are a lot of people who try to communicate with the spiritual, especially around this time. I thought this time was a good time to start bringing back my Lineage Witch Chronicles series, because this is normally when the veil is thinnest, and this is really when spiritual activity amps up. So it's like a lot of people really just want to dive into doing all things spooky, because they feel like, hey, look, it's that time of year, so let's do it. But then they're not professionals, and they, can end up getting themselves hurt or others, right? So this man was saying to me that his ex-wife was trying to harm him with magic, and this time it worked, because he can't get back into his body. And I want you to just try to imagine, knowing this. Imagine knowing that someone's trying to do something to you with magic, and then you are trying to tell people, but no one's listening. Or maybe, you're one of those who know, but then you don't want to say anything to anybody because you may feel like they don't believe you. All right. The man told me that he wasn't leaving until he talked to his daughter. At that moment, I had no clue who his daughter was. All right, that was at this particular moment, right? So now keep in mind, y'all, this is around 3 to 4 a.m. in the morning. So I can't really go find out who his daughter is unless I get to going through my phone or calling people that I know, because 9 times out of 10, when spirits cross me, it's someone that I know or someone that I'm about to cross paths with, right? So around 7 that morning, I get a text from a client, and she says she needed my help and that her dad passed away. So immediately my eyes are like, yo, what? Okay. Because this woman, like I said, she's a client of mine, and her dad had came to me by way of Baron Samedi. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so did he pass from magic, from the magic that his ex-wife did? And she was like, who the fuck told you that? Because I haven't even said anything. It's early in his passing, and we don't know yet. So like the reports are not back. The toxicology reports are not back. The autopsy is not back. Nothing's back yet because this literally just happened, right? So I'm like, well, your dad and Baron paid me a visit this morning, and I began to describe, to your father, that I could help him. I wanted to help him. But at the time, I didn't know who he was referring to, that it was his daughter. Now, I could have pulled out my pendulum board. I could have done all of that. However, imagine, even doing a locator spell at 3 to 4 in the morning, and then you find out who the person is, let's just say even that a picture of the person comes into your vision. You're not going to call somebody 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, I mean, some people will, but then me, like, I'm just not going to do that. So yeah, like, I began to describe her father to her, okay, because that was the best way for me to let her know that it was her father that I had come, in contact with, and she just really began to cry and thank me, because she was like, you're the real deal, and this is all crazy. I can't, even believe that this is happening, but being a spiritual person, I can definitely understand it, So she also said that this must be why she felt so connected to me in the beginning, and then she felt comfortable with me from day one. She just knew, she was saying that from day one, that she knew she could trust me, that she really vibed with my energy, and that I was like nothing like the people that she had came in contact with before. Now, to be honest with you, this story doesn't just stop here. All right, this story actually goes on further, because there's a lot that happened after we found out that it was the ex-wife that had done this magic. Because how we found this out is not only through what her dad was saying, but that same day when we were talking, she got a reading from me, and it was pretty much revealed in the reading, So, yeah, I could do a part 2 to this. If you've had any experiences like this, I definitely, would like for you guys to reach out and email me and let me know. A lot of these stories I've been turning the comments off just because I don't have time for the trolls. These stories are not going to make sense to everyone because everyone doesn't have these experiences. But if you guys do really want to know what happens in part 2, definitely email me and let me know. All right. And I will chat with you guys later.